Okay. Let's make sure we are on. Alright. Okay, we are live. Today we are talking to Adam Freese. Say microtonal composer. He's written a lot of stuff for piano, microtonal piano. More recently put out a piece for some kind of lyre harp. Anyway, let's see if he's ready to chat. How do I do this? Start video call. This always messes up my camera for some reason. Hello, Adam.
Yeah,
What is it up? Oh, hold on. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
Good, man. What have you been up to all day?
Mostly building a Lego set with my wife.
Oh, interesting. What are y'all building?
It's this kind of Japanese garden with kind of a, I'm not sure what you would call the building, but it's a building with a tea ceremony set. So there's like a little teapot and it's cups with matcha, and there are a bunch of cherry blossom trees. It looks like the cherry blossom trees will be the last thing that we build.
Nice. So is this you've been to Japan, right?
No, I've never been.
Your album is called Sunshine and Sakura, and it has the cherry blossoms, the trees, right? And I think there was like a photo of you in front of some of those. Do you have those trees? Do you grow
So
those?
there are a few near where I live, but neither the photo on the album cover nor the photo of me in the bio is from where I live now. Uh, the album cover is from the quad at the University of Washington in Seattle, which has a lot of big, very beautiful cherry blossom trees.
See.
And the photo is from, oh, my mind is blanking. I can't remember what the park is called, but it's a park in Newark, New Jersey.
I see. Yeah, and in case anybody's wondering what we're talking about, I'll pull up the pictures. This is the university, the album cover,
Yeah,
and then your photo in front of the cherry blossoms, right?
that's in New Jersey.
That's in New Jersey, okay. And the album is called Sunshine and Sakura, and one of my favorite pieces on there is actually the what is it? Sakura Fantasia,
Oh, yeah.
and that melody, that's like a traditional melody, right?
Yeah, it's a traditional Japanese folk song.
Right. Is that something you do a lot? Is kind of rearrange folk melodies, or
No,
is
I do it pretty rarely.
but they seem to have a strong influence on your writing. Is that is that true?
Hmm.
I feel like there is like a folk
It's
influence. So your pieces I feel like are
hmm,
very melodically driven.
definitely yes.
And in fact, I didn't even notice the Sakura Fantasia was like a tune that I recognized. It's actually in the some of the beginner piano books that I work with a lot.
Oh,
They
nice.
have that Sakura, just like an easy arrangement of it for beginners,
Right.
and I recognize it in that piece. So that was just a one-off thing then.
Yeah, there's kind of a slight story to it, which is, well, I've always been a fan of cherry blossoms, but a big part of the reason that cherry blossoms have become very important to me, and especially why they're emphasized in this album, is uh, my wife and I knew each other from when I was in grad school, but we had become separated and hadn't talked to each other in a long time. And a few years ago, in 2022, she traveled to Seattle, where I was currently living, for a residency at the with her graduate school program. And we decided to meet up. And when we reunited, we met at the university in the quad when the cherry blossoms were in bloom. So both of us have a very strong association of cherry blossoms with our relationship. And this album was created basically as a anniversary gift for her for our first anniversary of being married.
Yeah, it's very nice. That is a sweet story, and that sounds like a romantic reunion and picturesque. And I could tell like your wife and so you dedicate this album to your wife to celebrate a year of marriage. Your new piece for the lyre, that's dedicated to your nephew, who's on the way. And then I
Yeah,
noticed,
he's
yeah, go on.
he's due later this month, maybe somewhere between April 18th and April 20th.
Yeah, and I saw also on your channel you have like an elegy for Pop Pop, and
Yeah,
so you have a lot. Your family is on your mind a lot when you're composing, or at least that's who you want to
yeah,
dedicate your music to. Um, so should they inspire your pieces, or
yeah. I feel like my music is very emotionally, like, in terms of the actual music, what you're actually hearing, it definitely is melodically driven. But in terms of what motivates me to write the music, I typically have some sort of feelings that I want to either work through or express with the music. And that's a big part of what motivates me to end up writing what I do. To be sure, there are theoretical ideas that I like to work into music as well. Being part of the Zen harmonic community, you absolutely do want to take into account theory. I'm not a scale crafter or a theory person, but there's some pretty amazing theory that folks in the community have worked out that sometimes I just want to use in my music. And I typically wait for something that I feel the right emotion that can be expressed through these scales and these systems people create, if that makes sense.
sure, yeah. So like the impetus is not theoretical, but I mean it's
Right.
emotional. But once you start writing, you like to have some kind of theory behind it, I guess, some kind of structure, something to structure the piece, whether that's like
Yeah.
coming up with a scale or whatever. Do you think about what do you what about form? Like if we're learning about Zen harmonic music, it's all about tuning, but when we're composing, we have to consider form. Do you and I've noticed this like similar this connection to folk music. Do you feel you didn't seem that didn't seem like that's not something you like. Do you listen to a lot of folk music or study it or
No, I
no?
think that the connection you make to folk music is interesting precisely because I'm not really inspired by it. I don't listen to very much folk music either. So if I am inspired by it, it's subconscious.
I see. Um,
I think that
yeah.
one of the big reasons that melody has become such a big driver for me is that I got into music in the first place through certain video game soundtracks, but it was like Nintendo game soundtracks. It was the early Final Fantasy games, Zelda, Mario, where it's really strong melodies, and that made an impression on me. So I tend to think more melodically than anything else.
Interesting. Yeah, that is pretty interesting. Yeah, there's some great composers involved in video game music. And yeah, Final Fantasy, Nobuo Uematsu, or however you say his name, and then Koji Kondo, of course, with Mario and Zelda. many other
Hmm.
games. Wrote a lot of great melodies. Um, yeah, that's interesting. I do recall seeing like a cover, but I didn't actually listen to it of some video game stuff. But yeah, I definitely get like kind of more traditional or even somewhat classical vibes from your music. Is that classical thing also accidental or
Oh
is
no, that's intentional. I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm classically educated or trained except for about 1.5 years of piano lessons I took as a teenager. I listened to tons of classical music, but I haven't really studied it formally. So I've definitely taken in some classical influences, but I haven't internalized it in a deep way like, say, Zia Eros or Nick Vucci has.
interesting? Okay, so you do like to listen to it. You've studied it only a little bit, only privately. Um, so yeah, it's more of an influence than I guess, something you've investigated deeply, I guess. Um,
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
okay, all right, and yeah, so what I with your work, you've played with a lot of tunings or different tunings. So, like your earliest video on YouTube, that's music, I guess, that I found anyway, is 5 years old, and it's a 17 note neji. Like you mentioned, Zia Rose.
Yeah,
Um, was this your first exploration of microtonality? Were you involved in it before? When did you?
I,
Yeah, go on.
sorry. Uh, I messed around a bit with microtonality back in 2008. Uh, I definitely didn't connect to anyone in the community at the time. It was I some I somehow well I heard some music. I was really into avant-garde stuff. I heard Lamonte Young and Harry Parch, and I thought it was pretty cool. So I tried Googling more stuff about microtonality, and because it was long before Google delisted it, I came across the Zen Wiki, and I learned some stuff about that. I downloaded Scala and I improvised a few things and composed a few things, and then forgot about Zen for 8 years, 7 years, 8 years. And then I started making Zen again with the help of Scala and then C Sound. And I actually started posting things on uh, SoundCloud in 2016. And I
Hmm.
started with just intonation.
Let's see. So I can see a connection. Lamont Young, Harry Parch, Just Intonation. Were you doing? Were you thinking in terms of like 11 odd limit, or what was your approach to scale building in your earlier works?
It was, I figured out a few intervals I especially liked. I had kind of an obsession with the septimal major third, 9/7.
Yeah.
Um, so I would just mess around with a bunch of different intervals, try to build a 12 note scale in which 9/7 appeared as the ratio between two of the tones in the 12 tone scale a lot of times. And then I would try to noodle around on a keyboard until I came up with a melody I liked, and then I would put that into uh, a text file and have either Scala or C Sound render it.
Interesting. So working in C sound, you basically have to like type everything in, right? It's like a
Yeah,
text. Yeah. And that
a little
sounds
bit tedious.
so tedious. Yeah, I was about to say. Um, and then so yeah, 9/7 too. That's such an interesting interval because what do you think about like I kind of get a different impression of it depending on the context I'm using it in. So
Hmm.
for me personally, I haven't used it a lot in pure JI. but I've used it in 22 equal, which it's pretty well approximated in 22. Like it's pretty accurate, but it's
Yeah,
still,
it's like 22s to 9/7 what 31 is to 5/4 thereabouts.
yeah, it's very accurate. And yeah, those are both very accurate, those tunings. But for me, it's like a tricky interval to use, I guess, because it's that interordinal sort of space, in my opinion.
Hmm.
How do you think about it? Do you think of it, do you treat it like a regular third, or do you think of it as, does it sound kind of fourthy to you, or do you find it hard to use, or what's the appeal of it to you?
I've I've mostly used it as a third, but I also don't really follow any rules of harmony, or to the extent I do, I copy the rules that exist very sparingly and probably even follow them wrong. I like to just spam lots of thirds, or I'll do something like I'll build a cluster of things where it's like how to describe it. 9/9, 9/8, 9/7, 9/6, 9/5. So you build a five-tone chord or a semi-cluster in the bottom, chord in the top, and then follow something like the tonality diamond for creating chord progressions. And then 9/7 appears in the cluster that has utonal cluster that has 9/7 in it.
Okay, interesting. So it's like a undertone series.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, cool. And so some of your pieces, they're either in, so with the 17 equal stuff, you have a lot of videos on your YouTube channel that are in 17 equal or like a 17 note neji. Do you ever
Yeah,
work in the equal temperament proper? It seems like, if I recall correctly, you do sometimes, but you typically
yeah.
do like a you seem to default to JI. Like,
For a while, I definitely defaulted to 17 Edo, though. That was because of the influence of Inthar. He was promoting 17 equal for various things, but one of them was that it had a really good Locrian scale, and I'm a lifelong fan of Locrian before I got into Zen. And Inthar's examples of really good Locrian music, like his Ghost in the Machine piece, told me on I need to start using 17. And it was shortly after that I decided to start trying to put videos on YouTube.
interesting. Okay. Um, but you haven't spent much time with 34. But you do have like a
Yeah,
Austis in 34 equal. But you also
kind of
have
about it.
Austis. You also have Austis in JI on your
Yeah.
album. So did
Mhm.
you originally wrote that in 34 equal and then you decided to retune it? Is that how that went?
Yes, that's correct.
The album version is not only in JI, but it's a little bit better quality recording.
Yeah, I figured out how to morph different piano builds together in piano tech for that one. For the YouTube one, it's very janky. I just decided to render one on the Playel and one on the Steinway, and then try to mix them, which is probably why it sounds a little bit wonky and like there might be too many strings.
I see, yeah, in the video description it said that you were mixing those in Audacity, the two different.
Yes.
Man, that's wild. Why wouldn't you just mix in a Reaper? Is
Uh,
Audacity just better for that?
I don't really know how to use Reaper for anything other than the MIDI editor. It
Oh,
has a
okay.
fantastic MIDI editor, though.
Interesting. I just do everything in Reaper, so I'm like, I don't know why anyone would use
I should
Audacity.
probably try to learn to use it better.
I used to use Audacity way back when I first started because it's free. But anyway. Well, cool. Yeah. So yeah, Zeno's here. Steven Weigel is here. Oh yeah, it's you. Steven actually performed one of your pieces in 17
Oh
Equal.
yeah, yeah. He made so there was it's kind of a I called it a piano sonata, but I mean technically it is. It's three movements. The first movement is in sonata allegro form, and there's a slow movement, then there's a fast movement again. But a lot I in retrospect I feel like it's really lower quality than I should have become better at composing before I made my first piano sonata. But it was an earnest effort. I was very proud of it at the time, and there are parts of it that I still kind of like. I dedicated it to Stephen and his wife, and he performed it, and it's a very lovely performance.
Yeah, sounds good. Especially like the third movement. But yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I think the third movement is the best of the three. The first one feels kind of like the weakest.
let's see. Um, and for to write a piano sonata, you do have some awareness of like sonata allegro form. How did you learn that? Did you just look it up online, or is that something you
Um,
intuited from listening to a bunch of piano sonatas? Or
I learned about it from a history of music course I took when I was in undergrad.
I see. Right on.
And they, as assignments, forced us to do active listening. So there was a Brahms violin concerto I was going to anyway. Uh, they opened with one of Haydn's symphonies. I can't remember which of the 100 something symphonies of his it was. But then, because I was going to it anyway, I thought, okay, I'll do the assignment by describing in depth how they follow the classical forms. The first movement is sonata allegro, all of that.
I see. Yeah.
But with those lessons, I've been listening a bit more actively to the music I enjoy and been noticing the patterns in more detail, which makes me enjoy the music more. It's good to know these things, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And so more recently, so a lot of your pieces are piano pieces. Have you always written mostly for piano? Like were your C sound pieces, were those also for piano or
No, definitely not. I've tried and I failed miserably to synthesize something that sounded decently like a piano. Piano is physically very complicated. So my C sound stuff is mostly like crap, I forgot the term. The synth string, uh carpless strong. No, that's not it. I can't remember. But
like the
there are
physical modeling? Yeah.
yeah, string physical models that sound pretty good with C sound, and I created a lot of FM synths, which I think some of them sound pretty good. Some of my earlier ones, not so much, but I got pretty decent at it, I think.
Nice. And for your piano compositions, how do you go about writing those? Do you write them in the piano roll? Do you write them at the piano? Have you retuned? So I found one recording. Maybe there's more, but I saw one recording. You said it was a Story and Clark piano that you retuned.
Yes,
So did you retune
yes.
that piano yourself, and what was that
Yep.
process like?
So the story in Clark is a really old piano. I think it's World War II era because it's made of lower quality wood. Uh, everything during World War II was lower quality because all the materials were going towards building munitions and stuff.
Oh,
Um, but I inherited from my late grandmother, and I used it for when I was learning piano as a teenager. And then for a while, it was just sitting in my parents' basement. Nobody was using it or playing it. And then for around 10 months during COVID, uh, I decided to let the lease on my apartment expire, live with family for a little bit because I wasn't going in person for work anyway. And I decided, well, is that it? I have this very nice piano. Um, Zia Rose had recently retuned an old piano to just intonation and was recording acoustic just intonation music and sharing it on Discord and sharing it on her YouTube. And I thought, I'm not going to do anything as good as her, but I should definitely try this too. So I bought a tuning wrench and a tuning kit, and I started retuning to 17 Edo, or at least the closest that I could get with it. It was kind of a fun process, and I think it ends up sounding very nice. It's a little bit out of tune, partly because it's old, partly because of my amateur skills. I mean, I just learned how to tune a piano to do this, but there's just something about the sound and the feeling of an acoustic instrument that even if I can get perfect tuning with piano tech, it doesn't compare to playing an acoustic piano, I think.
Right. There's something about just having a real physical instrument and all the depth and complexity of the sound, and
Hmm.
also the subtle imperfections of the sound. It adds so
Mm.
much to it. Is that piano still in 17 a 17 Edo subset, or has it been re-vanillaized?
It has not been retuned because nobody ever plays it except me. So
Oh.
it is now probably some decayed, very wonky, out of tune version of 17.0 because nobody's really been touching it or playing it.
Now it's officially out of tune.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You haven't retuned that to JI at all? A JI subset?
Now, I've thought about it, but whenever I visit my parents, it's for too short an amount of time. It like takes the better part of a day for me. I mean, a professional
Yeah.
piano tuner would definitely take less time, but for me to tune it, it takes the better part of a day. And if I'm going to visit there for maybe 3 or 4 days, I don't want to take up that much time just tuning a piano instead of having quality family time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have a Yamaha CP60, which
Mm,
has fewer strings than a full-size piano, and also like
mm,
it never has like three strings per like unison, like per key.
right.
It maxes out at two, and that thing takes me 2 or 3 hours. I haven't retuned it in forever, but every time I've retuned it, it take me 2 or 3 hours. So I
Mm,
can only imagine on like a full acoustic with all of the unisons,
mm.
it'd take forever. Um,
Does you
yeah,
said two strings max? Does that mean some of the notes only have one string?
yeah, some of the bass notes.
Ah,
Yeah,
interesting.
that's true on my just regular acoustic upright though too. Some of the bass strings only have one, I think. I have to double check that. But on the very bottom, I believe that's the case. Um, yeah. And so on your Bandcamp, you're a self-described physicist and amateur microtonal musician or something like that.
Yep.
How does your interest in physics? Do you feel like there's any overlap between that and your interest in microtonality? Do you think having like
I
a
don't really think that there is. The
yeah
one time that the two interests ever really collided was when I was doing stuff with C Sound. At some point, I wanted to try to make a more realistic string synth. So I started studying continuum physics in a little bit more depth. I've started studying the physics of plates so I could try to model the soundboard of a thick plate instrument. I wanted something that maybe sounded a bit more like a Koto, which has an extremely thick soundboard. But then that ended up not really going anywhere because it was really a lot of work and I kind of gave up. But other than that, my interest in physics and my interest in music and microtonality have never really overlapped.
yeah I could see how like physics and acoustics obviously have a lot of overlap.
Mhm.
I mean acoustics I guess is even just a subset of physics,
Yeah.
but and yeah and sound design that could really help. But yeah, do you find it interesting? Because I feel like a lot of microtonalists have a very technical, analytical perspective on music and a very technical, analytical approach to music. And sometimes they're not even doing much music making, but really just doing a lot of theorizing. But for you, I feel like your connection with music is much more like emotional and personal, and you don't seem to even use your analytical mind much when it comes to music. What do you think about that? Do you find that interesting? That do you see do you think of it that way? Do you think like there's so many people that are analyzing music in this way, but for music the analysis isn't even that interesting or important?
I think the analysis is interesting and important, but I think that, like with any other uh, social, I guess, social community, we have the Zen harmonic community. You have people who specialize in different things, and there are people who are really deep into the theory and who are really good at it. So I think that I'm best off letting them do the theory, and if they create scales and systems that can be helpful for me, I'll use them. But for me, music has always been primarily an emotional thing. And although I'm very analytic when it comes to my physics work, I can't be analytic all the time. I need a break from it, and music is one of my breaks from it.
That makes sense. Yeah. Um, well, cool. Um, and do you notate? I guess you don't notate all of your pieces, right? Since you're writing them either in piano roll or, and you don't perform all of them either, right?
Right.
So like on that album, Sunshine and Sakura, were all of did you perform those or those like MIDI renderings, or is it a mixed bag?
So for the album specifically, it's all sequenced, none of them are performed. I have live performance versions of some of the pieces um, on YouTube, specifically Winter Leaves, Sea of Poland, My Sunshine, uh, A Wish on the Perseids, although I have it called A Wish on the Pleiades instead on YouTube. Those are the ones that I have live recordings of, but on the album, it's renderings via piano tech, or rather, it's MIDI that I output from MuseScore that I then had piano tech create the audio for. And the reason I did that is I'm not particularly good at playing, and I wanted the rhythm to be perfect. I wanted everything to just be higher quality, and I felt like it would be higher quality if it were rendered rather than me playing it.
Let's see. Do you spend a lot of time working on the dynamics and stuff with those digital renderings? Because I honestly I couldn't tell if they were um, performed or not. I thought you probably at first I just assumed you played them.
I do actually spend a lot of time messing with the dynamics. Uh, and uh, I do use recordings that I made of them, or rather, not so much like audio recordings on an acoustic instrument, but I'll play them and I'll save the MIDI of me playing them through Piano Tech, and then I'll look at the dynamics levels, and then I'll use those dynamics levels to set the dynamics levels of the sequenced versions.
That is interesting. That makes a lot of sense actually. Because yeah, there's only a few spots where it was like this thinking it didn't sound natural.
Yeah,
But
there are probably places that could be improved. But like say Sea of Poland, for instance, I spent so much time adjusting the dynamics levels until it sounded right to me.
yeah. Interesting. Do you enjoy like for me personally, if I'm like I do the most tweaky stuff in piano roll when I'm programming drums, where
Mm.
like I'll write out the whole drum part, first it's quantized because it's just annoying to not quantize it unless, well, I'm not going to get into the weeds on this, but normally that's how it starts quantized. Then I go back, I add in all these little dynamics, and I go back and I tweak the rhythm after like all the other parts are in there.
Mhm.
And I can't stand it. Like I'm like falling asleep. If it doesn't matter what time of day or night it is, I have to drink more coffee while I'm doing it. And I just start getting so angry. It's so tedious. Do you enjoy this, like tweaking the dynamics in the piano, or are you like me and you just can't stand it? You just do it to get it done, to make it right.
So I'd say that's kind of a false dichotomy. I wouldn't say that I enjoy it. I enjoy the original compositional process. Enjoy noodling around. Like these very fine details, I don't enjoy doing it, but I feel compelled to do it because I feel like I would be cutting corners if I didn't. I'd be producing something lower quality than I know I'm capable of if I don't do it, so I have to do it. I don't loathe doing it, but I don't enjoy it. I just feel like it's a compulsion. I have to do it.
Right. Right on. Cool. And your more recent piece for your nephew, um, that you performed, right? And that was on
Yes.
a what? Can you explain? That's a lyre.
Well, they call it a lyre harp on Amazon. I don't know if that's just a weird thing with Amazon titles is of products is they put tons and tons of words in them. So I guess so that more people get it as a search result. But
I
it's
see.
this thing. It's this
Yeah.
kind of cheap. It was only $100, so very cheap instrument.
Oh wow.
16 string harp.
Oh really? This is huge. So,
I mean,
this is an
it's all.
this is an inexpensive instrument that sounds
Mhm.
reasonably okay. It's
Yeah.
acoustic, and you can retune it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Was
It's
retuning it
pretty easy to
difficult,
tune.
or yeah? Does it just have tuning pegs on it, or I don't know anything about this.
Oh yeah, it has tuning pins.
Ah, I see. That's cool. And
Um, a lot of people in their reviews complained about the strings snapping. I don't know if it's because they've never tuned something before and are just going like, not realizing you're supposed to be more subtle with it. But just to be safe, I tuned A4 down to 400 hertz because you're not really at risk of snapping things if everything's tuned flat. I know that people do that with old pianos anyway. That's why my piano is tuned like really flat. And then from the 400 hertz, because it's this very nice integer number, I could tune, say, E to 300 hertz. And then for a while, I was using this enharmonic tetrachord from the harmonic series. It'd be 30, 31, 32, 40, so 310, 320 hertz. Uh, I
hmm,
got a tuner app that I could enter custom scales in, so I retuned to Archytas's enharmonic since then. In the future, I want to use Ibn Sina's tuning of the diatonic scale because it has some really juicy neutral seconds in it that I'd love to play around with.
oh, nice.
But right now, or it's probably a bit out of tune. I haven't really touched it in a few days, and with the temperature fluctuations, it tends to go out of tune a bit.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, that's cool. Was that piece that you wrote for the lyre harp? Um, How did you go about that? Did you notate it all first? Did you write it on the computer first and then learn how to play, or did you just write it on the harp?
I wrote it on the harp. I just noodled around on the harp a bunch, uh, kind of getting used to it, kind of getting used to playing certain significant intervals, uh, making up little exercises for myself. Some of them I thought sounded pretty good. And then I started putting a few fragments together, and I thought these things could go together into a piece. And then I started developing something.
Nice. So how long did it take you to go from purchasing or getting the harp in your hands to getting this piece out there?
That's a good question. I don't remember when exactly I ordered it, but I can look it up on my Amazon history.
And if anybody has any questions for Adam in the chat, we got Gabriel here, we got Lazy, Vinky,
Yeah, I
Zeno,
ordered
Nick
this on
Vucci.
August 30th, so it's been a little bit.
August 30th of
Hmm.
last year. I'm
Yep.
assuming, well, yeah, okay. That's not that long. Hasn't even been a year.
Yeah. Obviously, there's still a lot to be done. The dynamics levels are a little bit inconsistent in my playing, and something I haven't been able to really do is silence the strings right after playing them, which is a big reason that I just let everything sustain. Which, for that particular melody, is not so bad. I deliberately wrote it so that everything being sustained had this nice and pleasant buzz, but in a lot of other musical contexts, that would just make it sound muddy. So I need to learn how to silence the strings right after playing them without it sounding choppy or anything.
How do you learn to play that at all? Do you just watch some videos or
There are tutorials on YouTube.
yeah? Is it just like one note per string, or do you have ways to make a string play a different note? Or
Harmonic should be in principle possible. I have not figured out how to do that. I once accidentally played a harmonic on one of the notes, on one of the strings. Uh, I assume people who are very skilled can pull it off, but I can't.
I see. Is that part of the normal technique for that instrument, or
I don't I don't think so, but I don't know for sure.
yeah?
I've only really watched beginner videos for this instrument.
Right. Interesting.
And for anyone out there who is considering getting a harp like this for playing around with an acoustic microtonal instrument, for your own health and safety, definitely watch some of the tutorial videos on how to pluck the instrument correctly because you can actually get a hamstring injury from plucking it incorrectly. I made that mistake at first. Don't repeat my mistake. Look at the videos first. Look at the tutorials first.
Wait, a what injury? A hamstring? Is that what you said?
Uh, not yet. A wrist strain injury, repetitive strain injury. If you pluck it the wrong way, then you can hurt yourself if you do it too many times.
Oh no, you got a RSI from playing that thing?
Yeah. But then I looked up how to play it properly and I started doing that, and then everything was fine.
Oh, right on. So it's not still bothering you.
Nope.
That's good. Didn't have to do like 6 months of rehab.
No. Just the moment it started hurting, I decided I must be doing something wrong, looked up how to play it, and realized I was doing it completely wrong. Gave it a break for a week and then started following the correct playing procedure.
Nice. Zeno said the mango. I don't know if that's means anything.
The mango?
Yeah, the mango. I don't know what that means.
Or do I?
All right. Well, hey, what do you got cooking up? Are you working on a new album? Or are you writing more music? What can we look forward to from you coming down the line?
So I'm trying to write something in, I guess for modern terminology, you'd call it the Locrian mode of the enharmonic scale, although the enharmonic scale is very not modern, so that might be a bit misleading. In ancient Greece, it would have been called the Mixolydian mode, uh, but I guess some priest or something mixed up all the mode names. But if it's the enharmonic scale, so it's a microtonal scale. But it's a particular mode that Sappho of Lesbos was said to have used in her music, and all the ancient sources talk about her like she was the best musician ever. Unfortunately, none of her music survives, and only fragments of the words of her songs survive. But I've been feeling kind of inspired to it to write something in the Locrian and harmonic mode, so I'm working on something in that mode on the harp. But that's kind of all I have cooking at the moment. Another short harp piece.
Nice. Interesting. And do you do much? Does history creep into your writing and tunings often, or is it just you learn about some Greek scale? And,
It's a source of inspiration. A lot of what got me into 17 Edo, besides the Locrian connection, is there was also George Secker's really lovely essay on a possible alternative history in which 17 Edo was adopted as the standard because we decided to keep with the medieval rules of polyphony, in which thirds were considered things that you would resolve from,
mm,
and 17 Edo would be a way that you could build that kind of polyphony. And I was really into medieval history at the time, so I felt kind of inspired by that. Lately, I've been really into ancient Greek history, so I've been into ancient Greek modes and scales as well. So
uh,
being interested in history kind of inspires what I want to explore in music.
oh, that's cool. Do you do that much in your 17 Edo pieces? Do you resolve to, I'm assuming, like fifths and octaves from thirds?
I've done that a few times.
Yeah.
I think that probably the best example piece for that is the earliest video I have on YouTube, the Overcast.
Yeah.
Although that's also kind of a weird one because I resolve from major thirds to diminished fifths, which some people don't find convincing.
Oh, really? Yeah, that is interesting. But I guess that
A
would
major third
be
is,
Locrian, right? So that would make
yeah,
sense. Yeah.
part of what Inthar sold me on for 17 Edo is that the major third is quite dissonant and the diminished fifth is kind of consonant. But then there's the social conditioning of we're used to diminished fifth to major third and not the other way around. So even if the diminished fifth in 17 Edo is more consonant than the major third, that doesn't mean we'd find the resolution convincing, especially if it's working against what we're used to.
Right. Do you find when you're exploring new tunings that we're all kind of like brainwashed by our culture? Like if you really listen to the sounds, there's really so many different ways to interpret them, like or working with them, I guess. There's like alternative grammars and stuff. Like you're talking about how 17 Edo could have won. I mean, George
Mhm.
Secor or whatever talked about it, but do you find that to be true? Like, do you find yourself thinking in like alternative like cadences and stuff?
So I wouldn't use the word brainwashed. We're conditioned by the culture that we live in, uh, but that's kind of, I think, an organic and natural thing. Brainwashing, I think of as a very unnatural thing where you take someone out of their natural environment that they grew out of and you force them into a new ideology that contradicts everything that they really believe in. But definitely the way that we process music is very culturally conditioned, and um, that's very hard to get around. And that might be part of the reason that 17 Edo-Locrian is just not convincing to some people. So that's really something that we kind of have to live in and figure out how to work with, though. You can't really erase people's cultural conditioning. You can't erase the way things are. If you want to introduce new ideas, new music, new sounds, you have this reality that you live in. You have your actual culture. You have what people actually expect and you are used to, what they find meaningful in music, and you kind of have to appeal to that. And in some cases, it's you can be deliberately offensive, you can be avant-garde, you can create things that shock them, and microtonality could be part of your way of doing that. but you can also use microtonality in ways that people find pleasant despite the fact that they're not used to it. And I think Zen just gives so many different tools for people to uh, approach new music, and they can do it at all different levels. They can make it spicy or they can make it mild, and I think that that's pretty great.
Yeah, for sure. Lazy Vinky says I have to try more 17 Edo. Yeah. Ambient Esoteric is here. Checking out, subbing to Adam now. Awesome. Yeah, and I think in that piece, that first YouTube piece of yours, it was like a 17 note neji.
Mhm.
So it wasn't in 17 Edo proper. Did you choose the neji in part because the 17 Edo notes or intervals would sound like too rough? Like that tritone,
Oh,
that diminished fifth resolution is probably a little smoother if it's justly tuned, but at the same time, it's like pretty high complexity scale. So I don't know.
oh, so with Overcast, I wrote it in plain old vanilla 17 Edo initially, but Zia was talking about her Nejis a lot in the server at the time, and uh, she mentioned this particular Neji at some point, and I decided, oh, I'll try it out and see how it sounds. And it sounded like it was very subtle, but it sounds subtly smoother and nicer, so I decided to roll with it. For a lot of the things where I use her Neji, it's just a little bit of extra polish. It sounds a little bit nicer, but it still would have sounded good with vanilla 17 Edo. The one exception to this is the piece Briards are sometimes mistaken for haystacks. There's a long portion of it where I have two pentatonic scales, a uh, third tone apart. So basically, the black keys as sharp uh, in one voice, and the black keys as flats in the other voice. So they're very dissonant with each other. And in Vanilla 17 Edo, that actually sounds pretty bad. But in the Neji, it sounds just cute and whimsical. So the
Interesting.
Neji really helped with that.
Is there a big discrepancy between the intervals there, or bigger than
It's
normal?
it's not a really big discrepancy, but for some reason, just smoothing it out into some nearby just intervals makes that passage sound nicer.
Yeah. Interesting. I wonder if they're just like they beat a lot in the 17 Edo
Yeah,
version.
might be that. Would make sense.
Um, yeah, but I don't know, of course. Interesting, yeah. And do you how much do you consider like playability when you're composing these? Because you do write them often, I guess in the you write these in piano roll or you write them on piano. Like how do you usually start?
Um, it's kind of a mix. So some of them, especially the ones that I actually have recordings of, I typically actually just write at the piano. Um, a lot of the ones that I don't have recordings of, I'll start writing at the piano, but then I'll take it to MuseScore and start composing some more things in MuseScore. And once I start getting to some of the more complicated passages, I don't really think about playability as much. So I've actually had some pianists, even before I started getting into Zen and I was just doing 12 Edo stuff, who would look at my piano pieces and basically say, this isn't playable.
I see. And you don't adjust after. You just go, oh well.
Well, if nobody's actually going to be playing the piano piece and the only thing that's going to exist is a rendering of the MIDI, then I'm not going to worry about it.
Sure.
If it is something that someone's going to play at some point, like with the piano sonata that Stephen played, I am going to worry about playability and I am going to adjust it based off of feedback I get about playability.
Did you have
So I
to
actually
did you have to adjust that one?
I ran various portions of it past a pianist friend of mine before I got the finished version and sent it to Steven, and I did have to adjust some stuff.
Okay, right on. Yeah. Um, but so when you're writing, like, so a lot of your pieces are in 12 note subsets of a larger
Yeah.
tuning or some 12 note scale. I like that because it makes me think, oh, maybe I could learn this at some point, or someone could learn this on a standard keyboard. Um, do you go for that deliberately? Are do you think about playability and accessibility when you're composing?
So the 12 tone subset thing, part of it is kind of a wishful thinking that maybe I'll be able to play this in the future. But part of it is also that since I primarily write things in MuseScore, it's very hard to figure out how I would export a MIDI from that then somehow has more than 12 notes between what's marked as C5 and C4, unless I decided that, okay, what I have is C4 and E5 in this score, or C4 and C6 in this score, will be the octave, and I won't really think about. Uh, I'll try to dissociate where things are in this score from where they'll actually be tuned, and then I'll do something with 24 uh, tones to the octave and everything shifted in piano tech. I have a lot of trouble thinking that way, though, so it's kind of a limitation of a combination of my workflow and my way of thinking that's made it difficult for me to use more than 17 notes per more than 12 notes per octave, sorry, in a lot of my pieces. But I have figured out a workaround that works with my limited way of thinking, which I did take advantage of the album version in the album version of Sakura Fantasia, which is I have multiple scores and they each have different portions of the piece. So 17 tones per octave. Your flats and your sharps are now different. So I have a score for everything that has only flats in it, another thing for everything that has only sharps in it, and I divide up the natural notes between them, and then I put both of them in piano text separately with a different 12 tone subset, output the audio, mix them in Audacity. So I have been trying to move to more than just 12 tone subsets.
Nice. That sounds like a whole process, but that also means that so there's no particular section of the music where you're using more than 12 notes at a time, right? Because you would,
Yeah, so
yeah,
it's always a locally a 12 tone subset.
yeah. Interesting. And so do you prefer like microtonally, do you like to dig into like septimal intervals? Is there like a tuning preference in terms of like sounds that you like? Like you mentioned 9/7 earlier. Do you avoid like conventional like 5 limit stuff? Um, yeah. Do you have preferences like that or
I really like the septimal sound.
yeah.
Not really sure why that is. They're just something like it feels a lot. It feels a lot stronger. It feels like when you have septimal minor stuff, it's not just melancholy. It's kind of like a little bit determined, like I'm going to fight back, sort of thing. And the septimal major stuff is like super hyper.
Hmm.
So there's this intensity in it that I kind of like. For some reason, I like a lot of the tridecimal intervals. Uh, like
Stuff. Yeah.
13/8 is pretty cool.
Hmm.
16/13 is a very nice neutral sound. 13/12 and 14/13 or anything in that vicinity is a really lovely neutral second.
I see. Is that kind of what you get kind of those sounds in 17 Edo too?
Oh yeah,
The
absolutely.
13 stuff. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't really have like a good 9/7, I guess.
Oh yeah, no, you don't get that in 17 Edo. The major third is the closest thing, but it's like I think it's about equally distant from 9/7 and 14/11, and it's a terrible approximation of either.
Yeah, right. It sounds cool though. I like a lot of 17 equal stuff. Are you a fan of like Mercury Tree or
Oh yes, absolutely. I have a couple of their albums.
yeah.
Uh, I bought them on Bandcamp, so I should have digital files, which I should actually download. I used to listen to their CDs in my car,
Yeah.
but I then wrecked that car, and my new car
Ah,
doesn't have a CD player.
I know there's no
So I
CD
should get the
players
digital
now.
files.
It's so lame. Yeah, I sound old now. But yeah, I had Spider Milk. I used to listen to
Yeah, I
that.
have that
That was
album.
my first microtonal album. And that album actually like is what really like convinced me to get into this stuff because I was like, "Oh, they're actually doing really cool stuff that I would like. I wish I did this."
Oh, they're fantastic.
Yeah. Um but now I'm like really into 34 equal. But from the sounds of it with your process like notationally it seems like 34 would be annoying. Maybe you could find
Yeah.
like a 12 note subset of it that would sound nice, but kind of the advantages of 34 like it gets you better like 5 limit stuff which
Oh yeah,
maybe it wouldn't be so exciting to you anyway, but you do get all the 17 equal stuff as well.
yeah. My limited forays into 34 have largely been using 17 as a base, but then borrowing a few intervals from 34 to spice things up. In fact, borrowing the 5 limit stuff has been kind of my favorite thing. So in Bubbles on the Wind,
Hmm.
like Suncatchers and Sakura and Bubbles on the Wind use the same 12-tone subset of 34 Edo.
uh,
11 of the tones are from 17 Edo, and Suncatchers and Sakura, strictly speaking, is only in those 11 tones. Bubbles in the Wind until the very end is also only in those 11 tones. And then it borrows the 5/4 from 34 Edo in order to end on a Picardy third. So out of nowhere, you get this really nice cadence that wouldn't be possible in 17 by itself. Although the album versions of both are then kind of detempered into a just approximation of the scale I used in the YouTube version.
yeah. Yeah, I love 34 Ida 'cause, well, I find it so interesting because a lot of times when you double a good tuning, like with 17 is already a good tuning. And
Yeah,
in my opinion, usually when the tuning's already good on its own, when you double it, it's like, why did I do this? Like I feel that way with like 26 and 19 and 12 even. Like I'm not a huge fan of adding in the chord tones. A lot of times it feels like the stuff you get is kind of the stuff you want to avoid. But 17 is like this weird counterexample where like when you double it, it's almost like everything you get is so nice. All the new stuff you get
yeah.
is so nice. Uh, so it's very satisfying in that way because you get all the cool 5 limit stuff, but then you also get some cool 13 limit stuff. Like you get the infra minor and the ultra major thirds and
Yeah, the 1310 is pretty good in 34, as I recall.
yeah, it's just a tad sharp. And then like 1513 is like almost perfect. But yeah, I always find that interesting. Or yeah.
I
It
actually don't think 24 is too bad. There are probably a lot of examples of it being used poorly that I think kind of make a lot of us wince at it a bit. But there are also some really good uses. Its mosh is really good. The neutral intervals are nice, and there's some pretty good music, like Engine de Poitrain, probably mispronounced that. My wife and I were just watching their video about an hour ago. Their
nice.
music's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Oh yeah, they're awesome. No, I mean, it can be awesome. It's just like if I'm thinking about tunings that I like,
Mm,
24 is like one of the least exciting. Partly just because it includes 12, but then like you do get some cool intervals. Like I agree, the neutral's not bad, but I don't know. Compared to like even like 31's neutral scale, or even
Hmm.
17's neutral scale, I don't know. To me, those are more interesting. I don't know why.
Oh
Like
yeah, the neutrals in 17 and 31 do sound better.
like
At least
31.
24 does give you neutrals.
Yeah, it does. It's 24 has a really cool super major seventh.
Mhm.
And like the obviously like the harmonic 11's pretty pretty well tuned or whatever, but I don't know. Like I like semaphore in that and some other stuff. But I don't know, it's like if I want to use those scales, I'm like, why wouldn't I use this other tuning instead? But 24 is so
Fair enough.
practical. Like it's you can make a quarter tone guitar, just add the extra frets and so on. All right. Does anyone have any questions for Adam or anything you wanted to say, Adam? Anything you want to announce?
Or
Or
elaborations about the mango.
oh yeah, the mango harp. The shape is like a mango.
Oh,
The harp
yeah, it
shaped
kind
like
of
a
is
mango.
actually.
All
I didn't
right.
notice that. That's true.
Nice. Well, yeah, I'm not getting any questions. All right. Are you putting out an album? I think I asked you that. What did you say? You working on an album or?
Uh, no, I'm just working on another piece right now.
All right. Oh, that's right. You were talking about the that Greek uh, thing, the Greek goddess or whatever. It was a real person, Sappho's or whatever.
No, that's a real person.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, I don't know. What are you getting into later? Anything? Got to watch some TV?
Uh, Probably continue building the Lego set. It's a
Oh,
big set. We're not done yet.
nice. All right. Well, I guess that's gonna do it. Unless anybody has a last minute question, not getting anything.
Okay.
So, well, hey Adam, I do appreciate you coming in, man, and talking
Thanks
about
for
your
having
music.
me.
And yeah, you have some really lovely piano pieces. You know, I've been playing piano uh, for a long time. I'm a piano teacher.
Oh, nice.
Um, and I love piano. And when I heard your album, I was very uh, pleased with it. I mean, it sounds so nice,
Oh, thank you.
very like thoughtfully composed, and I love the melodicism. And yeah, I don't know, they're just nicely formed pieces. I know you're self-described amateur, and I know technically, I guess if you're not getting paid to do it, you're an amateur. So maybe you are an amateur, but you know these are good. It's good stuff you're doing.
Oh,
So I'm
thank you. I
forward
appreciate it.
looking forward to whatever else you're going to be doing. And what do you think about before you go? What do you think about like the idea that Zen harmonic music doesn't sound as good on piano? I've always thought that was a really weird take.
I don't I don't think that's true at all. I mean, the very first Zen harmonic piece I heard was Lamonte Young's well-tuned piano, and it was beautiful and mesmerizing.
Yes,
Uh, Michael Harrison's stuff is beautiful and mesmerizing.
right.
Uh, Zia has these acoustic just intonation piano pieces on her YouTube channel that are beautiful and mesmerizing too. I think that there are a lot of bad examples of there are, say, sample-based sound fonts that are then retuned and readjusted, and then that ends up retuning whatever else is going on in the piano. and that just it's uncanny. I think it's
Sure.
bad tech that ended up giving people that impression. If you have an actual piano and you tune that to Zen and you play that, I think it sounds lovely.
Yeah. No, I've always thought that was odd. And now that there's a popular video about that, people sometimes come to my stream and are like, don't you think a better timbre would, like a non-piano timbre would be better for this? And I'm like, no. Because, I don't know, like I got into so much microtonal piano stuff in the beginning of my personal journey. And if I thought piano sounded bad microtonally, I probably never would have gotten into this stuff.
I mean, like, if it's the default MIDI sound or it's a sound font or something, it does tend to sound bad, but real pianos and even piano tech,
Yeah,
microtonal piano tech sounds
piano tech
great.
sounds great. Yeah, agreed. Um, all right, sir. Well, hey, with that, I think we got your official takes on most of the important stuff. Um, very nice. All right. And do you want to say anything really controversial before you go? Like something to make people mad?
Oh, what can I say that's
Like,
controversial?
what's your hot take
Um,
on especially if it makes tuning nerds angry?
the Riemann zeta function is overrated. How about that? Or is that a
Okay,
cold take now?
that's such a cold take now. Can you put it? You should insult DR.
The
Say something about
dimensional regularization?
delta rational.
Oh, I don't understand it, so I can't have an opinion on it.
You, a physicist, can't understand DR. What does that
Well,
mean?
I haven't actually tried
You
understanding it.
haven't bothered trying. It's not that compelling. Oh man. All right. Fair enough. I think that'll do. That'll get people talking. This interview is going to be on the front page of New York Times. Adam Freese disparages DR. Okay, very nice. Well, hey man, I'm gonna let you go. But have a good rest of your night. Enjoy your Lego forays, and hey man, if you want to come back sometime and get another album cooked up or whatever, or just want to chat, hit me up.
I think I'll wait until I have another album.
Right on. All right, sir. Have a good one.
See ya.
See ya. Okay, there we have it. That was Adam Freese. Thanks again to Adam for dropping in. Hey Zeno. Cool. Well, hey, I wish you guys had some questions for him or something. I mean, geez, it's the second time we've had someone on. Nobody wants to ask any questions. That's okay. It's cool. You glad you got to make it live? Nice. Yeah. All right. Well, that's the end of that interview. I'm gonna go play some Lumatone, but I need a second to set it up. In the meantime, let's listen to some of this album, Sunshine and Sakura. I love this Sakura Fantasia, so I'll put this on while I'm setting up, and yeah, I will be back in a couple minutes. Adam Freese. Thanks again to Adam. Actually, I'm gonna start with my song. I'm gonna set my monitor there. I've been liking starting off with a song. Where's my Reaper? I gotta change everything though. This is in 22. 34. Where's Reaper? Hello. Excuse me. All right. Okay. I'm gonna play this song. I wrote this song on a little instrument. And I've been learning how to play it on the Lumitone, so it's gonna be a little rough. Especially the second half. Second half's still pretty rough. But hopefully it'll sound a little better than I did yesterday. Okay, it's called Wasting Time. gonna be really rough. I don't know what did I just hear, but was filling. Right on. Thanks, I think. I really need to work on this middle part. This part's so hard to remember. do I think of the tuning of the month? 16 subharmonic 16 through 32. I have tried some subharmonic series stuff before and found it difficult to use, but it's been a long time. Maybe I'll revisit it for tuning of the month. I don't know, subharmonic series is kind of weird. Like to some degree it feels sort of, you found it very funny to play. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it from when I've messed with it. I think every tuning has any tuning in the right hands can sound good or sound cool or whatever. You did not expect what was going to happen. Yeah. So it just depends. I think it's kind of a weird tuning for sure. For some people it's going to be really appealing, I think, because it's a challenge. You're bad at 24 Ito. Yeah, my first microtonal thing was in 24 Ito when I first was getting into it. I spent a lot of time thinking about 24 Ito and messed around with some like 7-note scales with some quarter tones in them and stuff like that. But once I branched out of it, I haven't really wanted to go back. Even though Angine de Poitras, however you say that. Even though the Quebecian Martians are super popular, I've not really wanted to go back to it. I really like 34 Ito. It's like my favorite right now. I really like 22 also, and 27. You're a normie, you like 31 Ito? Yeah, 31 kind of bores me a little bit. But it's fine, it sounds good. It's tuning of the year this year, so I've been doing a lot. Been doing a lot with 31 lately. But the more I mess with 31, the more I'm like, man, I wish I was just doing 34 right now. Because they're very similar size. But 34 is more interesting to me structurally. Because I'm not a huge mean tone fan. And, I mean, mean tone's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But I think 12 Ito is like, kind of like the perfect mean tone, honestly. Because once you start going more in that direction, your fifth just gets really flat. But 43 Ito is a nice mean tone. like 17 and 19. Yeah, I like 34 because it's like double 17. And 17 is awesome. But the stuff you add to it is just like sick. Because you go from having this 17 Ito major chord to having this 34 Ito major chord. And it sounds so good. I love the way these triads sound. They just sound like so good. Yeah, 17 is already pretty cool. But like here's 17 Ito major 7, major 9 chord. Then here's the same chord in 34. Like 34 sounds like where 17 wants to resolve to. And then like also like 17 has these neutral intervals, which are cool, kind of like 13 limits sort of stuff. But in 34 you get these 13 limit intervals. So you get these semaphore chords that are like really cool. Yeah, you can mix it all together and get, like, I love this. My bad, not that. This. It's kind of like a Lydian dominant, but like a cool flavor of it. But 34 is kind of impractical. But if you can do 31, you can do 34. But I like 34 because it's the 2 chains of 17. And I love mixing in like this scale and this scale. Which I do that kind of stuff in like 22 and 27 a lot. And you can't really do that in 31. It doesn't really sound quite as good. Although I haven't really tried it that much in 31, but it's just that the regular chain of fifths in 31 gives you your good third. Why is that purple? That's blue, what the heck? That's funny. So I like to do something. Oh, it sounds good in 31 too, actually. And you do the same thing in 27. Now it sounds even better. There's something about like the super major stuff being a little more resolved in these super pipes tunings that makes the contrast between those and the nice tone stuff like really smooth and interesting. That's in 22. Whereas when you do it in like 31, it's not that it doesn't sound good, but it doesn't sound as ambiguous, I guess. Like this feels qualitatively more it just sounds more dissonant or something. And like qualitatively distinct. So in 31, it's not that it's not a good sound, but I think it just has to do with like this is on the chain of fifths, so it kind of works already, and then the switch is like subtle. Although honestly, in 34 it's a little too subtle. In 22 and 27, it's a cooler chord progression, but in 34, you can still kind of use these intervals and stuff. Like in this progression I wrote, it's kind of going between those. Because like here we have, this is all from this scale, which is like the 34 scale, but then we switch to the 17 scale here. So it's not a dramatic shift, but it's like a cool subtle flavor change. And then same thing here, like except the opposite. This is like the 17 scale, and then this chord is only in 34. So it's like this works and it's acceptable, but then it kind of goes somewhere else that's like subtly like unexpected. And the same thing here. This is a 17 Edo chord, and that's a 34 Edo chord. So it's kind of cool to just like play with the play with those like subtle contrasts between the scales. And the 34 Edo step is small enough to do these kind of It's cool because you get like different flavors of like the 17 Ito minor chord sounds pretty good, pretty solid on its own. But you just like have the option to do this. It's like not a dramatic thing, but it's kind of a cool. Like when you and these are so like bright and like clean. They have like a subtle qualitative shift, like it feels a little like higher resolution or something. Just feels a little cleaner. Yeah, you can even just mix in all the notes. 4K HD, yeah, exactly. Like you can do the major 7th from 17, and the 3rd from 34, and the 3rd from 17. You get that shimmery kind of stuff that everyone likes to do in 34. Yeah, you can even do like chord progressions. Like you can do a 17 Ito 4 chord and resolve to the 34 Ito 1 chord. So these would both be 34. These would both be 17. This would be 17 to 34. Yeah, 34 has this semaphore scale, so if you split a 4th in half, you get a semi-4th. If you stack a bunch of semi-4ths, you get semaphore. Which is a pretty nice sounding like pentatonic scale. It's got a bunch of different modes. Like I've been using this mode mostly lately. It's like an ambulance. What? How dare you? You take that back right this instant. Sounds like a like a lover whispering sweet nothings. Sounds like your parents telling you they're proud of you. Nah, you're right. It sounds like an ambulance. What am I saying? Or maybe like a train horn. Train whistle or whatever. You also get tetricot in a 34, which is like a... So in 17, you have this neutral scale, which is pretty good. And then you also have this one, which is also good. Oops. Man, it's hard to play. This is like a Rost, Macomb Rost or whatever. This one sounds really good. But in 34 you get tetricot. Which is like a little bit more layered. It's got the neutral seconds. Or it splits the neutral third in half. Because I'm pretty sure 17 has neutral seconds too, actually. I don't know what that sound like with the 17 neutral seconds. Seventeen. Yeah, it doesn't work as well because the distance here becomes major. So in tetricot you have neutral third split in half. Kokiri Forest reference? Cork Forest? Anyway, I like it like this chord here. I like this chord. And this is like the scale I got to go with this is like a hybrid of tetricot and semaphore. It's like here to here, it's just normal. Then here to here, it's like tetricot. And then, actually all the way to here, it's like tetricot. And then here, it's like semaphore. And that's a pretty cool scale. Although the chords aren't super great, but that kind of bass chord is really cool. But yeah, these are fun. Oof. Oof. Yeah, I like that chord a lot. It's such a wet seventh. Chala reference? I don't know what you're talking about, man. But, yeah, sure. Yep, that's right. Chala head chala. Can't get enough of that chala head chala, man. I keep having that melody creep back up. It's always playing these tunings too. It's never in like this one. Thirty-one has way better like septimal stuff. So like 34 you don't have really any septimal stuff. But 31 you do. You get the sub minor third. You get the harmonic seventh chord. You get an okay 11. Actually, I think the neutrals sound really good in 31. I don't know, 31 compared to 34, 31 feels kind of drowsy or something. Like I'd never put my finger on the word, but that's really kind of what it's like a drowsy, sedated kind of feeling. Like compare that. Let's compare the neutrals to this. That's 17, not 34, really. Okay, if we go to 31, let's try some major stuff. It's major 7 kind of stuff. I don't know, it just feels a little like it's like a little droopy, a little sleepy. In comparison, it's very subtle. Try sub minor, harmonic 7th chord. Yeah, that's a good one. 31 has some cool stuff you can't really do in 34. Like that chord. sus chords. Actually, that's good use of that neutral third. Random stuff go burr. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of mostly what there is to do right now with the microtonal stuff, especially. Just play a bunch of random shit and find stuff that sounds good. Some people are really systematic. I I'm a little systematic, but I do a lot of noodling. I do that in 12 too, so it's not any different. What I'm used to, really. So yeah, if you take the harmonic seventh and put the neutral third on top, that sounds pretty good. All right. Yeah, I think this is just gonna be another short stream tonight. Um, Getting ready to master this album, so I'm kind of taking it easy this weekend because I'm gonna be grinding pretty hard. So yeah, I think I'm gonna get going. But I do appreciate everybody who checked out the stream tonight. Thanks again to Adam for coming in for the interview. If you haven't checked out his album, the link to his Bandcamp is in the video description. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Just doing normal stuff. But yeah, I'll see y'all then. Have a great rest of your day, rest of your night, etc. See y'all next time.